Morena kia tātou katoa, nā mihi nui kia koutou I tēnei rā, me ki te rā te 13 o ngā rā, o te marama o Māhuru, o te rā hepe tema. O te rā tēnā koutou tēnei ata tino a tāhua, te rāhina, ne? Kia mōhio tātou te tīmatana o te wiki mo te mahi. Nō reira, a tēnā koutou katoa. Nō reira nei mai, hoki mai ki tō tātou nei hōtaka, a Kāinga Kōhanga Reo, e pāho atu nei ki a koutou, mai tōku kāinga ki tō kāinga, mai tōku nākau ki tō nākau. E mihi ana ki a koutou e te whānau. Te āhua nei, I pai katoa, nā rani whakatāhoe, nō mi tīmata tātou I runa I te āhua o te karikia, nō reira kia inoi tātou. He hōnore, he korore, he mauna runa ki runa I te whenua whakaaro pai ki nā tāna te katoa ame. Whakamoimiti tōna te mātou ki a koe I hua mai mana ki tana I a mātou kotoa me a mātou tamariki no kupuna no hoki. Ki aroha mai hoki koe ki a mātou hina noi kore tana whakapūmauti ato aroha nui ki a mātou katoa. Tēnei ka inua I runa I te inua o te matua o te tamo o te wairua tapu. Āmen. E te atua tahuri mai o tarina whakarana mai te tiru mai hoki mai kia ki te ai koe o mātou moi kore tana hara hoki te mea he tika no mātou ka tuku atu nei a mātou inua ki tau aro. Engari he nui no tāu mahi tohu e te ariki murua te he te atua whakarana mai tahuri mai ia mātou mahi kaua rai whakaroa mahara mai kia mātou I tēnei rā kōrero ki tō ina tapu. Āmen. Te reina whita I te atua te huna tapu. E noho nei te rani kia tata mai tō urina ki te whakaoro I a mātou. E ihua āta whai o nā tāna tai rani ana tau aroha I awa ki ana ki te riri. E nui ana tau mahi tohe e pai ana ki a koe ihua ki nā mea katoa. Hei runa koe I a mātou tau mana ki tana. Kōrero ki tō ina tapu. Āmen. Tētahi wāhi o te inu a te ariki e tō mātou matua I te rani kia tapu. Kia tapu tō inua kia tāmane. Kia tāmai taurana titana kia mete. Kia mete tāu e pai ai ki runa I te whenua kia riti anō ki tō te rani kua whakamoimiti. Kua whakamoimiti nei hoki mātou ki a koe kua whakakōrero ki tō inua tapu. Āmen. E te atua whakatuwhirahia tia mai nā kua ho te tika o ia mātou I tēnei rā a mā mātou koe whakamoimiti whakakōrero ki tō inua tapu. Āmene, āmene, mōrena ki a tātou e te whānau. Nā mihi nui ki a koutou anō I tēnei rā, he rani a tāhua. He rani a tāhua, a te āhua nei kua hiki anō nā kapua, a ki runa I a tātou, a kua mahia kua wāte te huarahi ki mua I a tātou. Engari, e tuku tonu ana I nā mihi aroha ki nā whānau, e noho pani nei, noho nei raro I te kapua pōuri. Ki a koutou te tai rā whiti, ka tahi anō ka puta te rono, ko nā hui a nata tērā, kua riro atu I te rina kaha, o hine nui te pō, e pōhi nei ki a rātou katoa. Nō reira koutou katoa takahi atu te ara whānui, a tāne nui a rani hoki atu ki a tātou nei mātua tūpuna, tataria nei ki a koutou. O te rā koutou, kua riro atu ki te pō, haere, tātou ki te ao mārama, ati hei, mauri ora. Nō reira, kene pia ka nui wei nei kōrero ki au, hua no, pe te mea nui, kia tīmata tātou runa I te tika I te pono, me te whakanui anō I tō tātou nei matua I te rani, kia tau hoki nā mana ki tana ki runa I a koutou. E hoa, tērā, wikene ko tērā. E rono tonu ana koutou, e taumaha tonu ana tāmaki makaurau. Tāmaki here ana I raro I nā mahi o te Kōrona, ko tātou tēnei. E 23, nā mea kua pānia I tēnei mate, ai mue tērā, 20 anō, nō reira, hei te ahiahi nei. Hei te ahiahi nei, ka puta nā kōrero, a tō tātou nei pirimia, ka hātia tātou, mena ka hiki, ka taka rā nei te ohuiti, ki runa I a tātou, tāmaki, o tira ki runa I a koutou timotu. Nō reira, ka tāria we rā kupu, engari ko te ināi nei, ko te ina mata kei ko nei tonu tātou e noho ana, e mahi ana I tātou tau mahi. Nō reira te whānau, kāre tō rua hia we nei kōrero, me kuhatu tonu ki wā tātou nei kai kōrero, kua tino waimaria nei tātou. E tino waimaria na tātou, ki tēnei o tātou nei kuia, tēnei o tātou nei whae, nō roto I te Kōhanga Reo. E noho ana ki tōna kāinga, te taho hoki o tōna whānau. Engari, kei aia ētahi kōrero, hei whakaaro tana mā tātou. Nō reira, ka reo rua pia tēnei, me reo rua, ne, ka māwhiti tātou, ahakoa ko te wiki o te reo Māori, e mihi ana. Engari ki a tātou te Kōhanga Reo, ko te reo Māori nā wā katoa, engari mā tātou nei whānau, ko te mea nui, kia mārama te tuku o nā karere, kia mārama te rono I nā kōrero e tau tikai ki roto I te hine raro, e mārama ai tātou e pēhi ana te ahu o enei kaupapa. Nō reira, e te whānau, mihi mai ki tēnei o a tātou nei kuia, kua kaha nei ki te whai wāhi ki te Kōrona ki a tātou. E Nanny Eileen, tēnā koe, kei te pēhea koe.
Kei te pai matua, kei te pai.
Tēnā koe. Nō reira, kei konei hoki, ka poatau I tana mōhio koutou ko kia Batman me Robin. Wānei a Robin. Tēnā koe e Annette.
Tēnā koutou.
Kei te pēhea koe Annette.
Kei te pai.
Ka pai tēnā koe mo te haramai ki te hāpai ki te tautoko I tēnei wā tātou kuia, Nanny Eileen, e mihi ana ki a koe mo tō noho mai ki te hei hāpai o, hei tuara anō mo tēnei wā tātou nei Whare, tēnei wā tātou nei Nan. Engari, a tōna wā ka hoki atu ki a koe nei Annette, he nui o mahi tēnei ata.
Ai. Ai, nui atu mahi tēnei ata.
Ka pai. Nō reire te whānau ai, ko Annette tērā, e kaimahi ki te taha o te raki pai whina. Engari, e Nan, tēnā whakamohio atu ki te whānau, ko wai koe, nō hea hoki koe.
Ko Eileen Shawha taku ingoa. Ko manga kāhia, pakotai a hau taku Kāinga. Ko te rai o rāheri te maunga, ko manga kāhia te awa. Ko nā tuki ma te whaurua te waka. Ko te rai o rāheri te marae. Ko ngati tuki, ngati horohia, ngā maunga, ko ngā puhi, te iwi. Tērā te taha toku matua. Te taha o toku māma, ko pau e rua te maunga, ko waitangi te awa, ko te riti o waitangi te marae, ko ngāti raheri e ngāti kuri, kawa taku aroha mai whānau, ngā hapu, ko te rai te rite waitangi te marae, ko ngā puhi te iwi, ko James Edward Shawha tōku pāpā, ko pare taki moana Shawha tōku māma.
Ka pai. Ātāhua, mihi ana ki o kā wairana tira, ki o mauna, o tira ki o waitapu, e rere nei, o tira ko koe tēnei kei mua I a mātai I tēnei ata e nei tēnā koe. Nō reira, e te whānau, me matua mōhio koutou, pai mo tēnei wiki nei, te mea koe nei te wiki mo te reo Māori. Kei te ako tunu koe ki te kōrero I tō tātou reo, nei?
He tini taku reo. Taku mokopuna haere ki te kura te raki pai whenua. Ahau, ka hore ahau, he toru tau. Ahau actually had things to do with the kohanga. Pai te ko.
Ka pai, nō reira. Tell us about your journey in te reo. How have you what's your journey been like in terms of learning your reo?
Learning the reo, it's been hard for me. It really has been hard for me, for my reo. I've never really had anything to do with kōhanga or anything until I came back from Australia, and then my mokos went, my youngest one, she started at the age of 3, so I've only been there she's now turned 7, so I've only just had 4 years, but on top of that I've been in a wānanga with ngā puhi, but for me it's been hard, but I think I've come a long way. With this COVID though, has given me more understand, more feeling, more my Pākehā way of thinking is starting to change, but it's been hard. It's been hard for me, but I'm so thankful that I've got my mokopuna, my daughters can speak te reo for them to api. My most important ones is the kōhanga. the kōhanga has helped me a lot. And it's a lot. The reo, because the reo is ongoing all the time. So, yeah, the kōhanga has done me. That's my biggest wish, is to be able to kōrero te reo.
Ka pai.
Yeah.
Ka pai ātahu tō kōrero mai tō pepea nen. Lovely ki te rono I tō pepea was great. And, you know, in the early days, also, a Kōhanga Reo was set up for those who had no reo. Who had no reo, who wanted the reo, who wanted to feed the reo to the mokopuna, because as history shows, the reo was I patu here. Our tipuna and our kuia, they were smacked for speaking reo Māori. So we know those stories. We know those stories, and we appreciate, you know, even at this tender age that you are at, man. Kua hoki mai koe ki te kaupapa te Kōhanga Reo. How have you, what does Kōhanga Reo mean for you? How have you, I remember you when, a few years ago when we were over at Whare Maha, and you were there. And you were there to tautoko, and you were vocal about that. So what does Kōhanga Reo mean to you?
The kōhanga means, it means a lot to me, as me personally, and for my mokos, you know. I as my parents, and we all know that back in the 50s, we weren't taught that. My parents were fluent speakers. They were really fluent speakers, but they'd only speak if there was park. My mum, anyway, would only speak if there was parkers around. So it wasn't an ongoing thing at home. And as years, and first I used to blame my parents for not teaching me, but as time went on, you know, they're not there with you all the time. So I don't put that on them anymore. I put it on myself, you know, for the fact that I never taught my children, and then my girls had to go to school to learn the reo, and then they put their children into kōhanga and kura kaupapa, where that should have been my job as their grandmother, as their mother and as their grandmother. So the kōhanga, you know, we're so lucky to have the kōhanga. It was, and I, you know, I just, it's like to me, I've been given this opportunity to develop in the koha and to learn the reo, to be able, because ka hore a koe he kōrero pāki, kōrero te reo. And ka pai tera, because if Nana says anything a bit wrong, my mokos, and at home as well as the Kōhanga Reo, Nana ka hore tera. So, you know, we as parents or grandparents, you know, we're so lucky to have kohanga around us, especially at this time. And I've got no more mokos to go to kohanga. Maybe the day will come when I'll have a great grandchild that I can put them into kōhanga. But the kōhanga has given me a lot of love and understanding, and because being brought up in a church played a big part in my life. So this is all new to me, but it's amazing how blessed I am to be able to learn a lot about our reo and learn to speak our reo. So kia ora, kia ora.
Ka pai, Nan, I can hear you. It means so much to you. It means so much to you. And I suppose one of the things we've been talking to ranatahi around the motu, our graduates of Kōhanga Reo, and some of our, we really haven't maybe gone in depth with our nannies, but how have you been during lockdown and not been able to interact or Kōhanga Reo, with Kōhanga Reo, with your mokopunas.
It's been hard. It's been hard for me. I live with my daughter and her tāne and my 3 mokopunas. And you know, being a nana and being a mother, and they're so very protective of me, and I know where they're coming from, but for me, because I'm out there. I'm out there. I either go to teams or I'm up in Whangare or I go somewhere else. But with the kōhanga, and I have contact with the pēpis, with my babies from the kōhanga, they're keeping me there. They're keeping, okay, I tangi. I cry every time I kōrero with them. But other than, it's been a blessing for me, because I'm doing kete too in kōhanga, and to actually do this mahi on my own, I've come to learn a lot. I mean, you know, I read these things, but I don't actually take it into my in here and in my heart. But since the lockdown, it's opened my eyes, opened my mind, opened my heart more so, as far as our kōhanga, our reo, the meaning of rangi nui, the papa tuanuku, you know, those things, they were words to me, but they mean a lot more to me, because I'm actually learning these things at the same time. So I tautoko COVID for me for that, because I think our Heavenly Father has said, Nana, I think you need to do more, that you need to really look into what you're doing, instead of just seeing it and then tohutohi, and not taking it into my heart, into my knowledge. I don't know. Tērā taku kōrero.
Kua rono I tērā, Nen. Kua rono I tērā I roto I nā kaupapa ako, where people don't know or appreciate the whole hunutanga of the kaupapa ako. They think it's like school. So I suppose we've been so colonized to think it's like school. This is not actually like school. This is about you learning about yourself.
Yeah.
You learning about kawaikoe and how you connect. And now you kind of gone onto the deep. It does take almost traumatic. You're almost traumatic into a state of awaken.
It is. It really is. You know, I'll talk about the kumara. You know, I love the kumara, but there's a lot more to that story of kumara. You know, the black beetle, you know, that's in the ground. There's more to that than just, oh, that's a black beetle. So these are the things that I'm learning, not learning that it's coming, that's come to me, and it's made me look at, you know, I mean, we're so lucky. We are so lucky. We Māori, we're so lucky. We're so blessed. And you know, and it's I'm a pretty open person, you know. I'm a very versatile person, you know. I awhi people, but for this COVID, for me, it's given me something that I've never had until now. You know, to be able to grasp what our tupunas had, who's been sending these seeds out to us all these years, and me at the age of 71 is just grasping it now. But I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for that.
That is tino miharo. Neke he miharo. Kua puawai I roto I nā mahi e nene mihi ana kia koe mo I rā kōrero. We've had so much kōrero on our courses, but to have someone who's had you know, a lifetime of experience, ki te kōrero mai, what your revelation has been, I roto I wa mahi he miharo. I suppose one of the reasons we wanted to reach out to you today also was to talk about, I suppose there's no kāre te pōuri tana, te pōuri tana, and sometimes with our kaumātua so 71, probably still quite young, hoi anō, 71, with our kaumata, with our nannies, that people tend to forget how COVID is affecting them, and that they still, like yourself, you're sprightly. You're well, you're fighting fit. But how has the restrictions and has there been any like taumaha or depression that you've kind of experienced during lockdown?
Yeah, I did. I went through that. I went through that. I was in my room. I was just tangi, and I spoke with my mokopuna and I said for him not to say anything to his mother, but it felt so lonely. It felt so, even though I was with my family, even though I'm living with my my daughter and her tane and my mokopunas, but for me it wasn't. It was lonely for me because I'm so used to being able to go here, go there, and do this and do that. So and because my whānau didn't allow me to go out, they were very, very protective of me, very. And so I just sort of closed myself into my room, and it was horrible. It was tears, until they had allowed me. I can just go out around, because I had noho āhua pāremorum, I can go around the oval, and that sort of made me feel a lot better. So my heart goes out to our kaumatas queers, families. I know they are protected, but they've got to, sort of just give that little leeway. It's been hard. It's been really, really hard. But at the end of the day, it's all for our sake. It's all for our sake. If we go and do what we have to do in ourselves, as in our own health, for injections and whatever, for me, if I didn't do this, and I got it, that would involve my family. So I had to look at that bigger picture and not just be selfish and look at myself. So it was hard. It was hard.
So what was because sometimes you don't even know, ne? Maybe you not even know. It slowly builds up and then boom.
Bang.
What was the trigger? What was the, I don't know, I know, but there might be other nannies or other kaumata or whānau who have kaumata in their whare who might be who might not recognise or might not see, that they, like you said, overly protective. So what was the trigger for you?
The thing that triggered me off was me closing myself. I just stayed in my room. I just stayed in my room, and at first I thought, no, kei because I'm doing my mahi. I'm all right, but it wasn't that. It wasn't like that at all. Even though I was doing, it wasn't. My mind was just. It was gone. It was somewhere else, It wasn't until I started crying, the tears just came to me. I'd look at the window and the tears would just fall. And then I didn't like that. I felt that different feeling, that different feeling of there's something wrong with me. There's something going. And I remember my nana saying to me back, if you feel you need to tangi to get all of that out. But I can't tangi, but I couldn't stop crying. It just tangi. And then I knew there's something going on. And then that's when I opened up to my muko. But I just wanted him and I, but then he spoke to my daughter and she came in because she had a maiki. Mum, what's the matter? I go, I'm all right. Just like, I'm all right. And she goes, Mum, what's going on? I go, I'm fine. And I'm looking out there. I'm all right. I'm all right. And then the tears just came. And then I said, this is too much for me, baby. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. Then I spoke to her and said, you know, even if I'm allowed to just go outside and have a little hikoi, ke te paia, I'd love that. So she went and had a whānau talk with my moko, and they agreed, okay, Mum, you can. And since I'm allowed to go for that little hikoi and that, I'm that different person. But it was horrible. It was lonely. It was sad. I wouldn't like to go there again. I wouldn't like to go there again. So for me, I think the thing is I couldn't bring out to say that something was going on with me, because I thought, nah, I'm sweet as, you know, but it's no. It didn't happen like that.
Thank you for sharing that, Nan. That is such a powerful kōrero, and I can tell by some of the comments that we're getting that people are, it's resonating with people, and people are mindful. You know, they're starting to get people brains ticking over. And you know, kua āhua roa tēnei, we're about a month in lockdown now, so there are going to be those ups and downs, Mickey, those ups and downs. But you know, for your own mana, for your own mauri, and your own tino ranatiratanga, I suppose, it must be, you know, you've raised children, you raised your own children, you've been successful, you lived life, and then to have, you know, ka pērā to change where our children start telling us what to do.
Yeah, yes.
Is that hard to take?
It was. It used to be. It used to be much, but you know, because I would just switch off. I'd just switch off just like that, you know. And then and then in at the end of the day, my girls would just go, well, Mum, sweet, if you think you know better, you get sick, don't call on us. That's when it hit me. That's when it hit me. And now, if they say, Mum, da da da, I to a certain extent, like as this COVID thing, while it was, that was, you know, that just I couldn't handle that. I couldn't handle it anymore. So I went back into myself. I put all the feelings into myself, which wasn't helping at all. It just made things worse for me. And then when I did kōrero it just brought things out differently. So, you know, and I'll speak for myself, we've been through life, and we think our life has been different compared to the way our children, my grandchildren, are brought up. And every now and again, I tell a lie. All the time I go, you know, back in the 50s, da-da-da-da, this, da-da, and they go, oh, Mum, come on. Oh, Nan, come on. And I go, well, I will always, those will be the seeds that I am planting to you. But at the same time, I've got to be more open-minded to listen to what they have to say to me, because they're only there to āwhi me, to look after me. And it's been hard, but I think I'm not too bad, by listening to them. So it has. It's, you know, for me, I mean, as far as that reo is concerned and all that, to me, that's one journey. But for me, I think with this COVID, it has really opened me and made me more humble. It has made me an humble person, and it's made me take the reo more so here in Maha instead of here. Do you know what I mean by when I'm saying that?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
We underestimate the power of te reo as being a rongoa.
Yeah.
He rongoa tō tātou reo. O tira tō tātou reo he reo wairua hoki. So, and when you step into, you know, it's almost, when you kōrero te reo, it's almost church-like. You
Oh,
know,
it is. That's how I see it.
tika tonu nā kōrero, tika tonu nā whakaaro, ne? You got to kind of like, ka tika ki te, like you keep going, ki tō manawa, ki tō nākau, e putai. Yeah, that's what's really talking, kei konei ki e kōrero ana.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it. But there was just, so I just, one more before we move on. Yeah, that kōrero, I think we need to be careful, tātou mā, when we talk to our kui and our karaua, that when we say, oh, if you know better, what is it? If you know better, go on then, but don't expect me to be there to help you out. Is that how it goes?
Well, that's and for me, that just hit it right on the head for me, because honestly, I know better. You fellas know nothing. But for my girls to quote it, and that was that was their only way to make me realize, look, come on, Mum, we're not telling you how to live your life. We're only here to offer you. And that's how I see it. That's how I saw it after I sort of went back and thought about it, because I'm going, hey, no one's it. But that's how I see it. And for me, I needed to have I needed them to say something like that. I needed them because I was so been on my own for years, you know. Brought my 3 kids up on my own. So, you know, I've had to think, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for them to be like, to show me the way, to open my eyes instead of just having that back in the 50s way of thinking. I still do even now, but it's a lot more. I'm a lot more open, understanding, and because I'm just I was so being brought up in a country, you know, being brought up in Pakatai, 30 miles out of Whangare, you know, we're all one big whānau, so but I tautoko my children for the way they are to me of today.
I think you're so lucky that
I am. Yeah, I am.
You have evolved. You've had the hard kōrero. Hey, you had the hard kōrero, and then you've moved on, and now you're in this new space.
Yeah.
In this new space, and kei reira, the respect. Ko hoki mai te mana. Pia. Tō ake mana, and then the mana in terms of your girls wanting to care for you. So they can. But done in a mahi-tahi way, I suppose.
Well, that's probably the only way they could do it to me. And I so believe, and they're right. They are right, because, you know, they're so right, because, you know, for me, you know, I go, well, hey, you fellas have got the brains. You fellas seem to think you fellas know everything. Go ahead and da-da-da. And then when it came to me, I go, no, kei te pai aho. Kei te pai, I'm all right. Kei te pai aho. But then when it really comes down to it, now they've taught me anything that's under than ordinary for me, I ring my doctor up, I go straight. Ring, oh, doctor, da-da-da. Prior to that, it never bothered me. Oh, no, I'm sweet as, I can handle this. But now, you know, anything that's under the ordinary for me, I ring my doctor up and go, no, So I give thanks to them, you know. My mum and my dad, he passed away at the age of 52. My mum was 63 years old. So I give thanks to our Heavenly Father. I'm 71, which the age my parents didn't think so. Hey, I must be doing something all right, unless he's not ready for me yet.
Well, get you starting a whole new journey in Te Reo and Kōhanga Reo at the tender age of 21 there. So you're probably right. He probably still has quite a bit of mahi left for you to do. And, you know, pai te rono hoki wo kōrero, that you two aren't, you know, you aren't taking for granted your good health and the time that you've been given. You know, you're looking after yourself. you're being proactive and making sure that if things aren't quite right, ka haere koe ka, especially for our kuia wahine, our wahine seem to know, they're more on the pulse of, I don't know about our korauas, sometimes they got kore tarinas, we're still those young boys, won't take their pills or eat their own kai or overindulge. Enari, e tino mihi ana ki wo kōrero I te ata nei. And yeah, it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful. So I feel like we're coming to a bit of the wahana pia ka āhua oti rene kore. Enari, if there was hang on, I'll get Annette in now. Tēnā koe, Annette. Kia ora, Annette.
Oh, tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe. Beautiful kōrero here with Nanny Eileen. And pēhea ki o, kei te pēhea wā tātai kuia katoa I te raki pai whenua. I know you've got a few kuias there and you hold them dearly. And yes, given that the fellow was over there, the fellow that started this off was over there.
Te kia nei, te poronga hau kai te tino pai, kai te noho hau marito tino e ngō mātou kau mātua kuia. Kai te noho harikoa, ka iko nei te hāpuri hei chakina I a rātou, hei ringi, ka waiatu ki a rātou, me pēhe tō rātou noho ki te kāinga. Nō reira, kai te tino pai tō mātou nenis, ngā koro toki.
Pēhea wā koutou Kōhanga Reo o te raki pai, kei te pai nā Kōhanga Reo?
Ai, kai te ora tonu, tō mātou kohanga, kai te tino puku mahi, ngā kai mahi katoa, ki tēnei taha o te piriti nei. Nō reira, yeah, kai te tino pai. Kei runga rātou, kei te tuku rātou katoa ngā mahi ki runga I tō mātou pārangi pukamata, ka karakia tātou I a rā, yeah. I a rā.
Me hono mai koutou a tētahi atu rā, me hono mai koutou.
Wai.
I te mea, ki onei whakaaro ka puta tātou I te taimata tuawha, ai tēnei ahiahi?
Ko te tūmanako, ai. Ko te tūmanako, ai.
Ka pai. A hoi anō, ka tika sau no au I a Nan. Nan, Henui, there's been a lots of ups and downs with this lockdown. And we had we waimari tātou o tāmaki makaure o te uru o tāmaki. So we had a karakia the other night. You joined that karakia?
Yeah.
What did you think of the mess? There was almost over like 260 people.
Yeah. It's you know it's so awesome that I mean I'm so anti-technology, you know, because ka hore a hau I mohi o had. But when it comes to things like that, you know, it's so awesome. We're so lucky that our own people are doing all these things for the likes of us to it was fantastic, you know, to listen to each and every one. And because your heart goes out to whānaus that have lost ones in this COVID and that. But it also makes me realize how lucky we are, and we are lucky to even be able to go into things like that, to show to āwhu whānaus like that. So no, I thought it was really fantastic. And different kōreros from different places, it was so unreal. It was really beautiful. Yeah, over 250, 60 people. No, pai, ka pai. Because my daughter, my moko goes to the kura kaupapa anyway. So, yeah.
I know, fantastic. We had all our Kōhanga Reo join out here, out west, and those ones over the shore, and then we had all our kura kaupapa I hono mai, and then we all had our, you know, they do maurake together.
Yeah. So
kia he mi Titan ma, te kōtuku, te raki pai whenua hoani Waititi, I tū rātai. Because we actually did have quite a few tragedies, I suppose, happen here. But, you know, that whakakotahi and the tuku, almost a bit of a tani for us, eh? It was like an online tani.
Yeah.
Online tani for us to stop and reflect and see each other's faces. We're people from Australia. And so we feel for those ones over in Ahitereiria. And, you know, trying to get people home for tani or trying to get home while they're still alive. So it's yeah, things are pretty difficult. Boy, no, there's a big question everyone's wanting to have you been vaccinated?
Aye. Twice.
No,
yeah, I've had both of them. When it first came over, my son from England, he said to me, Mum, you get yourself done. So, yeah, no, I think when I might have been about nearly a month when it was open, I had my 2 injections at that time.
And what about those ones who might be, you know, not too sure? Some people are still worried about the vaccine, that it might have negative side effects or rera momo.
Well, for my whakaaro, I'm saying to you is haere tonu. Haere tonu. You know, I've read different things on pages. Even my son-in-law, my 12-year-old mokopuna, has had his first one. My 12-year-old, and then I read on Facebook how they've all had real sore hand, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know what you fellas are talking about really, because I never even felt my ones. I never felt them when I had the injection. So, you know, it's not just really for us. It's for our families. It's for the people around us. That's who we should be thinking of as our thought. If you like, for me, an example, I'm living with my children. I'm living with my mokopunas. Ka hore ahau and then I get COVID. I'm not going to just be taking myself. I could be taking one of my mokopunas, taking one of my families. So that's how I look at it. And I'm saying to whānau, kia kaha, haere tonu, because at the end of the day, it's not just for ourselves. It's for the ones we love. It's for who we love. That's who we're thinking of, because if anything happens to us, it will hit back onto them, and we don't want that. So haere tonu whānau, haere.
Ka pai, Ned. And I suppose because we're so lucky to have you, it's just you know, for those people who have their nannies or their koro staying with them, the grandparents staying with their whānau, what would you say to the young whānau that are looking after their kuia and kaumata, how, in terms of how maybe they should treat them or look after them?
You know, love them. You know, I'm so thankful that I've got this opportunity of being with my grandchildren, being with my daughter, being with my 3 mokopunas. My eldest daughter is living in Kaupapa, so I have a lot to do with my moko there. I've got 2 that's over in England. I'm so thankful for that. You know, I'm so thankful. And because I never had that opportunity of knowing my grandparents, I don't want my mokos to think that, oh, you know, we didn't have a nana, you know. I don't want my mokos to think like that, because I missed out on my grandparents, I want to give everything that I can for them. But just to remind them, hey, listen here, just because I'm your nana, you whakarongo ki ahau. You show respect, not just to me, to older ones. So, yeah, I just say treasure those times. Treasure your times you've got with your parents, your grandparents. Love them. Give them every love you can, because a day is going to come when they're not going to be here with you. And then you're going to start thinking, oh, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? My grandparents, my grandmother died at a young age, so my dad had to look after him, and his brothers used to have to look after their brothers and sisters. on my mum's side. Well, Nanny Queer, they lived out in Hikurangi, so it wasn't that often that we went and visit her and our grandfather. So, you know, grab every opportunity, love them, treasure them. Whakarongo. Even though some of the things we might say mightn't agree with you, but just listen, because a day's going to come when you go, oh, I remember what Nana said to me then. I got no memories of things like that. So hopefully I know that my mokas will think the same when that time comes and their Nana's gone and they go, yeah, I remember what Nan. They say it to me even now, oh yeah, here we go, Nan, back in the 50s. This is 2021, Nana. And I go, kei te pai tērā, back in the 50s. There's nothing wrong with back in the 50s. So yeah, tautoko, love them. Love them. Those are mine. Yeah.
Ka pai, what a beautiful message to end our kōrero on then, and our hōtaka. And you can tell your mokopunas now, your the Nanny is famous on the Kōhanga Reo channel, hot channel, Pauaka Whakāta o Te Pukamata. This has been seen around the Motsen and Australia as well. The people from Australia, you know, ka tino pāho tēnei kōrero.
Well, I hope I've been thinking. There's only one thing that I'd like to say before I go is I like in tautoko mai kohanga. Ngā whare Maha. You fellas know how much I love you. I want to thank you for loving me, showing me respect, allowing me to have your peppies as my mokos. You don't know how much that means to me. So I love you all. Have a good day. We'll see you. When do I come back? Level 1? I hope that's not too far away. I love you.
Tēnā rau atu koe ne. E mihi arohana ki a koe, a mo tō kaha, a tō maia, ki te kōrero mai, you know, on this platform, ki te whānau o te Kōhanga Reo. Kia kaha ki a koe, a me tō whānau. Kia kaha hoki ki o mahi ako, to do your kitties and your papers. Those things will certainly help broaden your titiro and your mahi, and our mokopuna will benefit. Nō reira, koina tā tātou. E mihi ana ki a koe, Annie, tō noho he teri mai, hei whakamaha nei te tuara o tō tātou nei kuia, Nanny Eileen, Shelford, o tira, nā mihi, e rārani ana kia koutou noho mai nei te Kāinga, e mihi ana kia koutou i whakarono mai tātou noho nei, te motu ohiti taimata rua, tātou tāmaki ohiti taimata whā. So this afternoon we'll see the announcements by our Prime Minister. So following her words, Auntie Jacinda, ne, ko te kupu matua, te kupu kōrero, te kiwaha Auntie Jacinda, be kind. Ne, be kind tātou kia tātou. Aroha nui tētahi, awhi tētahi, and just be careful i roto I wo haere na katoa. Reira, ka pai, you want to have a shout out to your whānau, Annie, o kei te pai koe?
Kei te pai ahau.
Hoki ki te mahi. No, tēnā rau atu koe, tēnā rau atu kōrua, e mihi nui ana. E nā koe kia pai kōra anea, kei au he waiata, so kei te pai ane, you're off the hook. We'll play one of Nanny Moi House ones. So ka pai, e mihi na kia pai te rā.
Ka pai, ka kite.
E te iwi, what a treat that was ki te rono I tētahi wā tātou nei kuia. E whakamaramana te āhua ki o tātou nei pakeke. It's a rare occasion when we get an insight into wā rātou whakaaro and what goes on in the head. Nā mōhia tātou, he hohonu rawa atu wā rātou whakaaro, e whakaaro nui ana ki ngā kaupapa. Nō reira, kei pōhehe noi ho tātou, kei te noho kuare. Ne? Kei te noho kuare, e kau, e āta matapaki, e ta mātai ana rātou i a tātou. Nō reira, ka tukuna tērā mahi a ki wā tātou pakeke. Ka maharai ki nā mahi nā te whakātira nei nā nahi runa i a wakahuia. Ko tō tātou nei kuia tērā hirita toko. Me tōna kaha, ki te mātai tamariki, ki te poipoi nā whānau, kia kahai rātou ki te koro ai tō tātou nei reo. Ki te kohana, o tira kia kuhu atu ki o tātou nei Kāinga. Nō reira, e mihina kia tātou mo tēnei te wiki o te reo Māori, e mihina kia kauta i manawa nui mai, kia tukuna tō tātou nei kuia, kia kōrero i tana kōrero. Te mea nui i mārama tātou, i rono tātou i te wairua o tērā kōrero. Nō reira, ka nui tēnei ki ai, anei tētahi waiata. Mai tēnei o a tātou nei Maha
helps you work more efficiently, which makes accomplishing your work goals
tai wā, kei te
easier.
āhua whakariteri tau i runai tēnei o a tātou nei pai kōrero. Engari, e mihi tonu ana kia koutou o te tai rāwhiti, te āhuatanga kua tau ki runai a koutou. Hoi anō, ko mātou tēnei, Kāinga Kōhanga Reo, e mihi atu nei kia koutou katoa huri noa, koutou hoki, kei ahi trairea, Yvonne, tēnā rau atu koe, anei, no tātou te waimarie, ki tō tātou nei kuia, me nā mahi whakarite Enet, o tira tō tātou nei kai whakahaere ārohe, kia Kerry Jones, rāua ko Monica, te okotai, o tira me mini kei tērā taha, awa tātou kai mahi katoa, e tiaki ana i wā tātou nei Kōhanga Reo. Nō reira, anei tētahi waiata pai, tētahi waiata tawhito, e mohi ana koutou tō tātou nei kuia. Nanny Queenie tēnei, i tito, hei harikua, tana mo te whānau mo a tātou mokopuna. Nō re, nā mihi kia pai te rā.
Tara, kei roto katoa i ngā iwi wera, a rātou kei tiaki, kia hoki tēnā ka pātai, watata kōrero. Hei reira ka huarake he whakaro, ka tae te whakaari, tēnei pūrākau. Ko māwene he rongonui nā te mea, ko mātau ngā uri o reira, e mōhio ana he kai tiaki tērā. Engari kei aia no weta he mahi tingihanga, me he mea kari te pai ki aia. Me he mea kai te raru ngā tamariki roto i ngā wai kaukau, ka hunai e ngā kākahu, kia puta mai ngā tamariki kore ki te o rātou kākahu, e ratu āhuatanga. Ngā momo mahi a māwene, engari ko tēnei kōrero, e kōrero ana, ara te āhua o māwene, ona makawa e pēnei ke te pūrārā nei, ko etahe o ngā makawa rā he rite ki te whitau harakeke. He pihi ona, he kanohi āhua, kararehe āhua tangata tonu nei, engari ko te tino mana o māwene kei ono waiwai, ka mohi o mātau mena, koia tērā kare rā nei. Nā te mea kōna tapu ai ka mahu e mai iaia, ke mohi o mātau, i kona i tonu a māwene, takai ārea. Engari ko te tino hea hoki a māwene, he wahine tēnei. Engari he momo chipua, e ki e ngiana, e tahi wā he tāne ki aia. E tahi wā he wahine. Tēnei pūrākau he wahine ki aia. Kona tino hoa, ko te aitanga pēpeke mā me ngā ngārara o te ao. Koe reo no tino hoa. Tuatahi me whakapono te tangata ki e nā kaitiaki. Tuatahi me whakapono te tangata he kaitiaki. Me whakapono ngā whānau he kaitiaki. Me e rongo anō tātou I era momo kōrero e pono ai. Nā hoki ko taku moko punaka ki mai nen ke te pirangi au ke te au te tūrehu. Nā reira ko taku whakautu. Ki mai me mo I tāurunga maunga. Me tau ate waka mo I tāurunga maunga. Engari kei reira tonu, kua kōrero hea kia ia kei reira ngā tūrehu, ngā kaitiaki o mātou tipana. Ko māwene te tūrehu tino rongo nui, maanga nui a mātou. He kararehe ono mai wai, he kararehe tētahi wahanga ona, he tangata tonu nei tētahi wahanga ona, kei ai e te mana tiaki o mātou awa, o mātou kokoru, o mātou maunga, kei reira I roto I ngā here, kei roto I ngā kohu, kei roto I ngā wai katoa, e hia nei ki te whakapua ki mai aia, ki te kapita.
Kita kita papa, kita kita papa. Neke tu papa, neke tu papa. Sukuta atita, sukuta atita. Kono piko mai rara, neke reka na mai, mapina kita re na pe.
E hara nei rātau o tēnei au, nā reira, me putake tātou I tō tātou au, e tae tātou te rarau atu e rātau. Nera. Me putake, me tuki ngā ara, me tuki ngā taiapa kei wainganui a tātou, me tērā o, me haere te tiki atu. Me haere ki reira, kia kitei, kia rongo ai ana. Ko etahi e ki ana e hika no te ke te tuauri ke tēnā. Pai noho kia tātou te tiki atu. Kei reira tonu rātau. Engari, ana ka huri mai, ke roto I tērā wai ata. Te hokai a te tūrehu, he hokai kaha ki I tana whai aipu. E hia nei, he tāne man. Ui atu rā I ana hoa. Me pēhea rā e tae, taku mate noi, ke te mate tāne aia, engari kua rongo hoki e hara meina tēnei rangatira o te pai hoki te hanga o taua tangatara, ana mai ara nei, tēnei ke te haua. E rongo nui taua tangatara, enga wai ne engari, ka re raru ki te hinangaro o te kuia nei pirangia he tāne man. Engari me pēhea hoki anā, ka whakapiri atu ki ana hoa, ko tīmata, ana, ko te ro, koira ngā piringa o te ao o māwene, kei roto I ngā mānuka, ko ngā ro rā, ana, me he me ka piri mai ki tō kanohi nei, ka hikina tō kiri. Nā reira, I roto I taua waiata, ka pēnei haere te ro, ne? Ara, ka pēnei, ara, ka rere ngā purere hua, era, ngā tara kihi, kita, pā, nā kuena ngā kupu ka tikina atu, te tangi a te kihi, tauira atu rā, mo te tangi a te paiana, tangi a te poraka. Kei reira ka tae koe te rarau atu I era rangi, I era taonga o te taiao, ngā mau o te taiao, ka mahi ki roto, ka hanga koe tō ao, Kei a koe te hiringa take, koeira he whakapono anō nau, te hiringa take kei roto anō I a koe. Ka mahi koe tāu e tika ana, na kita, neke kūpapa, koro piko mai ngā ngārarara, ka rere ngā ringa, ko koro piko, ko rere ngā machi, me ngā kanu I ara. He tino rere ke ngā haka, engari a waina haka au. He kai tiake o ngā haka a Ngātita. He haka anō era ngā haka taparahi, ngā haka, ngā mumu haka. Engari ko tēnei he mumu whakaari haka, he haka tonu.
Te hokai a te turehu, te hokai a te turehu, te hokai ka haki, ki tāna whaeho. Ui atu rā I ana wā, te pehera e tai o taku mawene. E te whakautu Kōrona.